Welcome to this week's episode of Coffee with a Journalist, brought to you by OnePitch. Are you looking for an easier way to pitch the right journalists? Head to our website at onepitch.co to sign up for a free account today. Our guest on the pod today is Dani Kwateng from Teen Vogue. As the executive editor, Dani is doing everything from reviewing budgets to managing the Teen Vogue brand and a whole lot in between. Occasionally, she writes stories about the consumer and lifestyle sector. During the episode, Dani shares the evolution of Teen Vogue over the last 2 decades, how writers can pitch her concepts and ideas, how exclusives can get funneled to other Condé Nast publications, and more. Let's dive in.
Welcome, everyone. This is Coffee with a Journalist. I'm Beck Bamberger. With us today, right in time for Fashion Week. We were just talking about this. The season is upon us. We are talking with the executive editor today of Teen Vogue. Dani Kwateng is here with us. How are you feeling, first of all, Dani, just with the season upon you? This is early September, just so everyone knows.
Overwhelmed. Overwhelmed, but we shall make it through. Every year I'm like, I'm going to take it easy with the shows. I'm going to just go to the ones I really want to. And then it's like a weird feeling of like FOMO plus like, damn, maybe I need to check out this new person. And then you end up just like stacking your schedule. So I'm trying to take it easy this year, but we'll see.
We'll see. Well, thank you for being here. First of all, for squeezing this in. This is fantastic. How many years of New York Fashion Week have you gone to by chance?
Oh my God.
A decade?
Listen, yeah, as long as I moved to New York in 2009. So 14 years. Yeah.
Dang.
I know. I haven't gone every single year. Some years, like, last year I had my son in September, so I missed that year. And some Februarys are hit and miss. Sometimes it's too damn cold to be outside running to shows. But yeah, it's part of the culture of magazines. So there's always been a little bit of events happening here and there, even if I don't go crazy with it.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Fashion Week. How exciting. Okay. Before, and I do ask this of everyone pretty much now, Dani, just to make sure we're emphasizing the right stuff and everyone is well aware of the outlet, how would you describe what Teen Vogue is today?
Oh, wow. I love that question. So our brand started in 2003. So we turned 20 this year. And initially we were sort of the little sister of Vogue, right? We were the brand that was very conscious of fashion, but from a youth perspective, very, very young, right? Our readers back then were preteens and teens. And so we were focused on fashion and beauty and dating advice and how to get into your favorite college and sort of a peripheral view of teenage girl existence. And then throughout the 20 years, as young people have evolved, we evolved. And so now I would say that we are really focused on identity. We're focused on how political affiliation, beliefs, whether it's gender, identity, or socioeconomic status, how all of these things affect identity and how you show up in the world. And being so comfortable in these spaces and telling the stories of people who are in these spaces and thriving, or at least creating safe space for others to thrive. And so I would say that's who we are now. It's a beautiful place to be in. And I think what I always tell people is that we're a reflection of our generation, right? We're constantly having to evolve because our audience naturally grows up. And so we're a reflection of young people now. And it's an exciting time to be at Teen Vogue for sure.
Ooh, and what would you classify as that young person? Because I wonder the demographics of the readership.
Yeah. So people always think it's like back in the day, like it's 12 and 13-year-olds, but actually our demo is 18 to 26. And I would say that person is somebody who is starting a new path, right? So either it's going from high school to college or from college to the adulting years. This is somebody who is conscious of the world around them, conscious of things happening in their neighborhood, but also conscious of global community happenings. And this is somebody who deeply cares about making the world better, who wants to be sustainable as possible, who wants to be caring and understanding to different marginalized communities. This is somebody who is empathetic, but also active and politically engaged. And so our readers are phenomenal human beings. We believe the people that are going to change the world, to be quite honest. And so I would say that's kind of a snapshot of, I mean, obviously there's different interests and core cultures and all of that, but I would say that's a general idea of who our reader is.
Oh, great overview. I am loving it, Dani. I'm like, shoot, I should pull up the tab and just be reading it myself, even though I'm a little out of the demographic, but yes. Okay, Dani, your inbox then. Now, as an editor, that is a little bit different often than reporters, but how is your inbox?
Oh my gosh, my inbox is a lot. So I was a reporter, a writer, editor, all that. And so because of me coming up from the ranks, I get a mix of all of it, right? I still get pitches like I'm an editor. I still get asked to cover things like I'm a writer. Then I also get executive editor emails about, business happenings, P&L, management stuff, staffing, all of that management exec stuff that's expected with the role. And so my inbox is a little bit of a circus, but I would say the best way to describe what I do is a traffic controller. And I point everybody in the right direction to go to get what they need at Teen Vogue. And a lot of times it's not for me. Like not every pitch is for me. Most pitches actually are not for me.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, which we'll get into. But I am a traffic controller because my inbox looks so crazy.
Got it. And then are you traffic controlling to zero? Are you a let it ride person? Are you all the planes hitting each other? Or is it like, how is it?
I would say it's smooth sailing. We're JFK over here.
Nice.
We're
strong. Strong.
I'm saying this like I know JFK is strong. I hope they are. But
I think it is. I don't know either.
I think it is. I'm not sure. But yeah, I think at this point I can pretty much read from a subject line, or at least the first couple of sentences, what the email is about and who it needs to go to, or if I need to address it. And I also know a red flag email, right? And a writer was assigned something, an editor can't deal with it and needs backup. I know when to jump in, or when something can wait a day or two. So yeah, like I said, the beauty of my job is that I've been everything. And so I know how to address most things that drop into my lap.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you said a red flag email. What is that to you?
A red flag email is a writer having an issue with a story in the way that we edited it, or in something that went live that they take issue with. Maybe they didn't like the way it was edited. And so that is a red flaggy moment. Another red flag is just PR crisis, which we have a beautiful, amazing comms team to deal with. But any sort of PR crises that come up, that's a red flag. And I think that's about it. Condé is a huge company. So there's folks to deal with everything.
That's so nice.
I know. It's privilege. There's privilege. I know.
It's lovely though.
But we have an amazing structure at Condé. So there is folks to deal with legal issues or finance issues or comms issues. And so, like I said, the traffic controller and me make sure the right people are involved for whatever the issue is.
Okay. How about your favorite pitches? Do you ever get something where you're like, dang, that's just a perfect pitch? Like that is thank you person.
Yes.
And maybe it's from a writer, maybe it's a journalist or a publicist. What do those look like?
Because I'm a writer, I have a soft spot for writers. I'm not going to lie, but I'll tell you both. So from writers, I love pitches that are concise, to the point, not long-winded, and they're unpacking or pitching a concept or an idea that's in the zeitgeist that people are talking about, but from a really interesting and in-depth perspective. So it could be maybe this week on top of brain is like Kylie and Timothée Chalamet dating, right? You could do a plain news post about it, or maybe it's a deeper piece on the Jenner celebrity relationships and why they're together and the elevation of certain people when they date in that family. I don't know. Maybe you find something interesting in that space to pitch a story. So I love like the deeper dives of just like cultural happenings, right? I love that from writers when it's timely, love it. And then from PR folks, I love experiential pitches. I love when they're like, try this or come join us. I love that. I love when a beauty brand is like, we have a new skin cream that does this, that, the other. We'll send you it, and then we'll have a dermatologist sit on the Zoom with you and talk you through it, right? Or if it's like a experiential, like come into this space and get a treatment and see how we're doing, this new type of spa treatment or something. I love when I can actually try the product or the experience.
Yes. You're the first one who's coined, at least on this show, experiential.
Yeah.
Like, give me an experience.
I do. I love it. I think most editors do. We want to get out of the office. Come on.
Yeah, I just haven't heard it in that great way. So, okay, very good. Oh, now what about exclusives or embargoes? Is that something you're ever interested in? And how would you discern between those two?
Yes. So exclusive and embargoes are great. I like them when they make sense for us. Sometimes because it's Conde, if it doesn't make sense for Teen Vogue, we might pass it to another brand. But exclusives are essentially information that is not out to the public yet, being offered to us by a publicist or a writer. I actually prefer those from a publicist because a writer, it's like, how did you get this contact? Sometimes it's like, is it a friend? How did you get this information? Versus the publicist is representing the person that has the news, right? And it's basically the opportunity for us as an outlet to scoop other outlets by sharing that news first, having exclusivity rights over that. Either sometimes it's 24 hours where no other outlet's allowed to touch it for a certain amount of time, or it's first reporting exclusivity. But I love those when it makes sense for us. Embargoes are when you have information, like even an album, right? You have access to an album that hasn't come out yet, or a film that hasn't come out yet, or just information about maybe a project happening in collaboration or whatever. And you can't share it until a certain time. And you being the outlet and other outlets, you're under the impression as a journalist that other outlets have the same information. And we're all holding on to this until a certain date and time when we can write it up as news.
Okay. Do you find people get this confused?
I can see that. Our team is pretty knowledgeable about it, but I can see how folks maybe can get it confused.
Well, more so from like the publicist side of like, hey, I have an exclusive. By the way, I already pitched it to 6 other people. Okay. So that's what we've heard on this show before. But I kind of wonder, Dani, if you're like such big league that people are not pulling these shenanigans.
I love it, Beck.
I mean that in a flattering, like seriously, they're like, shit, we're not playing around.
Yeah, no, it doesn't happen with us a lot. It doesn't. Sometimes we have to double check, right? Like it doesn't, and it's not to toot our horn, but I don't remember the last time it's happened.
Wow.
Well, I mean, there have been times where we've said like for covers, like, are we the only person who's giving this person a cover for a certain amount of time before or after, right? Are they doing any press before us or after us? And sometimes they're like, yeah, they did this cover that's coming out the month before you, or yeah, they have this interview that's coming out a week after the month you want to go live with this. I would say for the most part, publicists are pretty honest about it because 1, they understand the importance of that moment for their client. And 2, it's a relationship. You don't want to lie to an editor about having an exclusive on something that they don't have, and then you've marred a relationship. So I think people coming to us know the difference between the two and pretty much for the most part abide by those rules.
Oh, yes, I want to say you're in a stratosphere where now the shenanigans are not happening there. So that is great to hear at this level.
Today's interview will continue after this brief message brought to you by OnePitch. Are you curious to learn about the unique ways OnePitch helps brands engage with the right journalists? Head to onepitch.co and create your own custom media list in 5 minutes or less. Now back to today's episode.
Okay, Dani, speaking of at this level, how does anyone make a relationship with you?
Ooh, with me, it's harder.
Yeah, I was going to say.
With me, it's harder. So let me first break down what I do exactly. So as the executive editor of Teen Vogue, I am essentially a lot of things, but I am the connector. I'm the connective tissue of the brand. So I know what's going on from every single department: editorial, audience development, comms, publicity. Comms is publicity, sales, everything. I am the person that if editorial wants to maybe pitch something to be sold, I connect them with the sales team. Or if audience development, which is essentially like social media, traffic counting the UVs and all of that. If they have something that they need to express to the editorial team about SEO or something like that, I make sure that they do that in a way that makes sense. I know the timetable of the calendar, what we have going on now and in the future, and what we've done in the past. I'm managing all of the different sort of spaces so that we can all flow accordingly. And so in that role, I don't really have a lot of space for new relationships because I'm really making sure that my team and the greater relationship with Condé is seamless. And so the external relationships are pretty much the ones I've already built from my background as a culture and style writer and editor. The relationships I built for those 14 years, those friends, those publicists will maybe say, oh, I have a new artist, and I'll connect them with the editorial team. But I am not so much in the mix where I'm necessarily the person that you need to corner. And I say that because a lot of people always want to approach me first or go straight to the top, right? They always want to talk to the managing editor or the executive editor or the editor-in-chief because they have the most power. And yes, in a lot of ways, we do have a lot of power, but that doesn't necessarily mean we're the best person to talk to. I think that the best advice I give to young journalists and even publicists is create community within your groups, create community within your generation or your colleague space. Make those strong, and they will essentially get you into the spaces you want from the level that makes most sense. So for instance, you have a pitch as a publicist that you want to, get your artist into Teen Vogue. Instead of coming to me as executive editor who's busy juggling all these other things, you should go to the culture editor who knows day to day what's happening with their section, is already thinking of new artists, is already going to shows all the time, is already listening to new music, and talk to them about it to forge a relationship so that whenever you have an artist, whether it's the one you want to pitch or others in the future, they are your go-to to get it on the site.
Mm-hmm. This is an avant-garde advice piece, I'd say, Dani. And I love it. Basically, I'm too up here. Don't talk to me.
Oh, I hate that. No.
But in a productive way, because if you really want to get some stuff done, be on with the people who are doing the day-to-day.
Yeah, because here's the thing, Beck. The thing about it is that I know what's going on from a top level perspective, but I am not the culture editor. So I am not intensely thinking about how to make my section dope. I'm not thinking about what I want to do next year as a culture editor. I'm presenting it to me as the executive editor, but I am not. So if you want to get something that's culture related or politics related or style and beauty related, talk to the person who's in it, because I, as executive editor, don't know if they're already planning it. I can't say yes to your pitch if I don't know if they're working on the exact same story with another writer or another publicist. So it's not even effective to really talk to me. I love building relationships to give advice, but I mean, in terms of getting into the industry or fostering relationships that will get you stories, that's the editorial team. It's not really me as much.
Yeah, I hope people listen to this. This is gold.
I feel bad a little bit, but it's the truth.
It's true. No, it's true. You know what my little analogy is, and not that I have any whereabouts of the White House or whatever, but don't go to the president when you need to go to the head of the Homeland Security.
Right. That's it. And it's it doesn't come from a place of just superiority. It's just literally how management works.
Yeah, exactly.
It just does. Because if you think about it, it really doesn't make sense to ask me, oh, can you, here's a pitch for this, I don't know, beauty brand. Cool. I can pass this to the style team and see if they're working on anything. They may already know about this. They may already have something in the works, but you know what I mean? I'm just not in the weeds like that to make that call. I don't want to step on their toes.
Exactly. They're running their fiefdoms over there. Okay, Dani, I have a rapid fire question part, and you just give us your answer, point blank. Sound good?
I'm ready.
Here we go. Video or phone interview?
Video.
Bullet points or paragraphs in pitches?
Paragraphs.
Paragraphs, why?
I was tempted to say bullet points, but I like paragraphs because it feels a little bit more conversational. I think if I saw a pitch from a publicist that was bullet pointed, I will still be interested, but it doesn't feel it feels maybe statistics. It feels it feels very formal. And I like it to feel
cold.
a little, it's cold. That's a good way to put it.
Okay. Another avant-garde answer, I'd say, Dani. People are like bullet points. Okay. All right. How short or long for pitches?
Oh, short, always.
Short. Images attached or Dropbox zip files?
For a publicist, probably attached.
Okay.
Yeah, attached.
Email or Twitter DM or X, whatever now the thing's called?
100%, 1,000%, 1,000,000,000% email. Do not DM me ever. Please stop.
Okay.
Don't do it.
Exactly. One follow-up or multiple?
One.
Okay.
Yeah. You know why? Can I just say this?
Yes, please. This is the safe space to say, yeah.
Be proud of what you have. If you're pitching me, it should be something that is really fucking cool. So if I'm not interested, move on. Somebody else will be. And if it's something you feel like you have to push, then maybe it's not something that's that great of a story.
Yeah, good point.
Right?
Brilliant points here. Okay. Direct or creative subject lines?
Creative.
Okay. Ooh, why? No one's ever said creative, I don't think.
Creative, but this shit better be good, Beck.
There you go.
Don't give me no creative subject line and the inside is like mess.
Fake news.
Fake news. Because the inbox is boring. So sometimes like having a fun little like pitch, always put the word pitch and then a colon. But if after the colon you want to have fun, sure. But the inside better be good.
Okay. I like it. What time do you normally read pitches?
In the morning. The morning is it. Yeah. Don't send me something on Friday at like 3 p.m. Come on now.
No. Press release or media kit?
Press release.
Press release. Okay. Lastly, Dani, is there anything that you want to highlight, celebrate, high five, shout out, etc.? You obviously, I know, see the conference you have coming up in November, for example.
Yes.
Maybe that's something you want to plug. This is your time to plug yourself because we want to support our journalists.
This is my time to shine. So
yes.
2 things. One, you mentioned our summit, our annual summit in November. We're really excited. We are celebrating 20 years, like I mentioned, of Teen Vogue. And we have some really cool things lined up. Can't say what, but 20 years of Teen Vogue. So really excited about that. That will be in LA in mid-November. Look out for more information on that on the website. But it is always Summit is so fun because it's our only one of our few occasions to meet our readers in person, and editors meet readers and young people who are just excited about the brand, and they tell us their favorite pieces they've read throughout the year. It's just a great moment for everyone involved. So Summit is a big thing. Please come if you can. And then the second thing is the Africa Rising package, which I worked on this July. Yeah, that was kind of my baby this year. That was my big editorial moment. I don't get a lot of time to, as I was saying, to sort of be in it with pitches and with stories sometimes, not as much as I want to. But the Africa Rising package was a really cool package that actually spun out of a pitch that stylist. Yeah, I know. Yeah. So a stylist who we work with had come to us early in the year, like January, February, and was like, I have an idea for a cover story where we shoot 3 or 4 different artists in Nigeria. And it evolved because I'm Ghanaian American. And so it evolved into let's do something on the continent as a whole, because Africa is the youngest continent in the world demographically.
It is. God, and I'm reading your piece on the traveling to Senegal. This is like the 17th time I swear I have seen something about Senegal.
Go. Dakar's amazing.
I need to. I haven't been on the west side over there. So yes.
Oh yeah. Yes. Dakar's amazing. And so we made it a bigger package. It was the 3 covers, but then it was also a package of about 8 stories dedicated to youth perspectives on the continent. And it covered everything from US military involvement with coups to 54 designers from each and every country that you should know. And it was a labor of love for me. It was my love letter to the continent. And it was just a really cool way to highlight young experiences in a place that typically, is covered incorrectly or very generalized. Again, like I said, it came out of one single pitch that grew into more, but please, if you can, check it out.
Look at that, publicist. That could be you. A whole cover spread and feature. Look at this.
I know.
in our dreams. But I love this. It's leaving us with a dream. Dani, thank you so much for being on today. This was truly, truly a treat. And I also can't believe you're here right before all the Fashion Week stuff. So high five to you getting it all done.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so fun.
So fun. Thanks, Dani. Appreciate you.
No problem.
Thanks for listening to this week's Coffee with the Journalist episode featuring Dani Kwateng from Teen Vogue. For more exclusive insights about the journalists on this podcast, subscribe to our weekly podcast newsletter at onepitch.co/podcast. We'll see you next week with even more insights about the journalists you want to learn more about. Until then, start great stories.